Hello and welcome, Crosstown Gamer here, and today we're going to be continuing our playthrough of Falling Sky, the Gallic Revolt Against Caesar, uh, Volume 6 in the Coin series. Now, I have gone through a bunch of comments on, there's one particular YouTuber in particular, or commenter in particular, that has pointed out a number of mistakes that I've made, and unfortunately it's too late to correct them from the past, but hopefully going forward we can actually get this right. The majority of the issues that were taken with the way that I've played the game so far has to do with the non-player factions, specifically the Belgae and the Arverni, when we're checking these conditions for battling at the beginning, and then it's a yes, but they end up not battling because, an ambush wouldn't take place or rampage or any of that wouldn't take place. They wouldn't meet the criteria that they would lose fewer pieces than the opponent. What we should be doing is following the if none and going to march under threat. So instead, what I've been doing is going way back to the beginning, going down this tree, no, and then, doing the event or any of that. We would battle, then we would march. If none of those apply, then we would go to check if we can do the event and so on. So I've been messing that up since basically the dawn of time. So hopefully that hasn't hindered everyone's enjoyment of the series, and I recognize that it's difficult to learn these bots on camera. So I hope that it can be appreciated that at least we're all making a best effort here. We're all learning as we go, and I'll leave it to the experts to help me, and so that in the future I can play it a little bit more perfectly, if not perfect. Regardless, we are going to start. Go ahead and get going here. So, as you can see, our basic strategy, I'm not sure if I talked about this at the end of the last video here, is the Arverni were close, or are close to winning, and we won a lot of easy pickings for subduing tribes. So we kind of went southwest, and tried to push up into this region here. Probably because I unnecessarily nerfed the Belgae forces, the Belgic forces up there. They're not doing so hot, so we don't really have to focus on that area right now. But anyway, and we're the only non-eligible faction at this point in time, and so the Belgae are up first on this event migration. So let's check what they do and actually play the game correctly this time. So this is a yes. There are 4+ warbands where there's a non-German leader and ally and a bunch of forces up here. So this is a yes. But none of these criteria are actually going to be met, because first we're going to check, are they going to ambush? They can only ambush if they have more hidden units than the defender. So they can't do that. But then are they going to rampage? Let's just double check to make sure that they don't rampage. I think we've gone through this before, though, and it wasn't the case that they were able to do that. Oh yeah, within one region of Ambiorix. So this is 2 regions away, so they're not able to basically do any of their specials. So not going to ambush as well. They could enlist, but not for the sake of battling. They could enlist some of these Germans here or these Germans here to march or do something else or battle, but for the criteria in this battle box specifically, it's saying that in the locations where they're going to battle, they would need German forces in there as well to help with the battling, so that's not going to take effect. So it's only where there's battles already and there's Germans there to absorb losses. or to add losses. So that's not going to be true, and everywhere else is going to fight meeting the conditions of the left. They could fight there, but again, they're going to take more losses than their opponent. So this is just going to be a none. None. So then they're going to march instead. They're going to go from regions that meet the upper left condition. So there's just the one region that does meet that condition, and that's way up here. So they're going to march from that region and their leader's region if they're not already with the largest warband group. But it looks like the leader is with the largest warband group, so just the one region. And priority is going to be first from the Belgic leader's region, but again, that's not applicable here. They're going to march to one region, and they can't go into an origin region, so that's what that sentence there means. And they're going to go into regions within one of the most regions that have Belgae, and then to add the most Belgic control able to. With their 4 warbands up here, they're not going to be able to add control anywhere. They could add control here, but I think... Oh man, now I'm going to be second guessing myself all day long. They're trying to... that's the second criteria. So first, the letter A there is to move within the regions of the most Belgae possible. So I don't think they're actually going to go to Britannia, even though they would get control. First things first, they want to go within, selecting their priority. Their first priority is to be within one of as most Belgic forces as possible. Now, technically, this is within one of a bunch of Belgae forces, and this is also within one of a bunch. This is actually... It contains as many... It has a Belgae piece, is what I'm trying to say. And it's still within one of this big piece here. I don't think that actually matters. Because the criteria literally says, move 2 regions within one of the most regions that have Belgae. So... this is a region within one of the most Belgae, and this is a region within one of the most Belgae. This one down here is not. It's only... oh, they can't move down there anyway, but this one over here is not, because it's within one of this Belgic ally, but that's not the most number possible. So, of these 2 choices... then they want to add the most Belgic control possible. Add most Belgic control able to. So that, to me, indicates that they actually do want to go here, because instead of having 4 pieces against a bunch, they would have 5 pieces against a bunch. I don't know if that's actually accurate because of how many pieces are still here. Let me just double check on the rules really quick for that, because the player aid has been less than helpful for me. So, one sec. Yeah, so my interpretation of the rules is actually that it doesn't matter. They're not able to actually add control in either of those squares. So it's just a random die roll. So I'll say this is a 1, 2, 3, and this region is a 4, 5, 6 on a die roll to see which region they're going to march into. 1. So they are going to go down here. So we'll move them here. And marching does cost 1 resource per origin region, so we are going to pay the resource there that it costs them. And again, they're not going to move from anywhere else. So yeah, just double checking my mental calculations here. They're moving from this region because it was where they were battling, and it wasn't with Ambiorix. So that was the one region that they were able to move from, and they were moving to a region that's either in the same space or adjacent to a space that is with the most number of Belgic forces possible. So these were tied, and so we rolled a die, and it ended up being this one. Great. So then we enlist per the action box below. We're going to enlist the Germans as the Belgae forces to battle where they're... Oh, no. This is if we were to battle, so we're going to ignore this. And we're going to go enlist to add a free German command in one region. We're going to battle if we're able to cause an enemy loss versus players, so against Romans first and then versus non-players. They wouldn't do it down here because they'd be attacking themselves. That doesn't make sense. The only other place with German forces is up here, and they would be able to cause a loss against... they've got some choices here. So that is a yes. So it looks like they will battle. And just to point out the German battle, they don't get to ambush, right? Only battle. I need to double check the enlist things now. Hold on one sec. Yeah, okay. So we don't actually follow this chart. What happens with enlist, and we probably could have seen it on the thing here. If they are with Germanic warbands, we can treat them as Belgic pieces, so including for control, but like, so in this situation, if there was a battle taking place here, you can treat the Germanic player as being the same pieces as the Belgic player for that, or alternatively, they can execute a free Germanic command in one region, and the rules say that is just a limited command. And it's just basically using, it's not like since it's a limited command, they don't get to use the special abilities like ambush. So they're just going to regular battle here. Nope, wrong again. Glad I caught it before I did it. So in the Belgic special abilities, they must... battling Germans must be able to ambush and ambush whenever they battle. So I was wrong, but that's okay. And it does need to be within one of Ambiorix, but we are still within that realm of capability for the enlist action to actually be viable, because that's how it works up here. So they will ambush, which sucks because I wanted to retreat to save this warband and not take quite so many losses. But they are going to ambush. So we do the battle and ambush. Let's look at their flowchart for that. Regions. All right. In each region, select the player to defend. It'll be the Romans or us. And we cause the losses, all surviving hidden to revealed. Caesar's not there, so we don't have to worry about that. So just like a regular battle. So they have 7 pieces there, so that's 3.5 losses, or 3 losses. And we have 3 pieces here. And we don't get to counterattack or any of that. So this one dies first, back to available. Then these ones end up back to available as well. That does not change our victory conditions because that's based on subdued or allied tribes. And then all of these, all the warbands end up flipping to their revealed side. So they've ousted us up there in the north, which is a bummer. Okay. So that was enlist, and just to double check, that doesn't cost anything. Nope, no cost associated with enlist. So they just paid the 1 resource to march, and that was it. Then, so that was their command and special ability. Then the next eligible faction is the Arverni. So they are up, and they will likely do well. I guess just in case they pass, let's figure out what they do. Vercingetorix, or 10 plus warbands where the Romans already do we have stuff. No, Vercingetorix is way up there, all by himself. And then the only other places don't have 10 plus warbands. So that's a no. Thank God, because now we don't have to worry about marching under threat. Can they use the event? Yes. Is the event ineffective, or is it in the final year? I don't think so, but either way, oh yeah, it's a no Arverni situation. So they have the symbol that says they don't like this event, so they don't want to use it. So no Arverni is a yes. And then would a rally place... They have more than 8 warbands, so would a rally place 2 plus allies, citadels, or 6 plus pieces? I think this is a yes. Like, for example, here, it's the number of allies plus 1, and then they get an extra 1 for Vercingetorix. So up here, they have a 1, 2, and then 3 for Vercingetorix, plus 1 for being green, would be 4 right there, plus another few here, plus another few here, so that's a yes. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have 7 warbands available to them. Oh, but they have 0 resources. So they can't... So even though this is a yes, they can't rally, and they can't march. And so this is a yes. The rally, though, they can't rally where able, because, yeah. See, I need to double check on this flowchart too. It's like, I know we said yes to this, but a rally would actually not place. That's what I'm going to go with for now until I get told otherwise. A rally would not place 6 plus pieces because a rally would end up placing 0 pieces because they don't have any resources. Are there 0 to 5 citadels, allies and citadels, or 6 plus available? This is a yes. They have more than 6 plus available. So they would march, but that's a none because they can't... I mean, we'll get there the same way. It's a none because they don't have any resources. So they're going to raid versus the Romans. And then, after they raid versus the Romans, then they're going to also raid in non-devastated regions with no faction. So let's look at their raid box. And so... for each, either add +1. Okay. So they will raid regions with hidden Arverni. So that's everywhere that they are currently. That's possible to do. And so first they're going to go versus factions, then in non-devastated regions versus no faction. So it sounds like they're not limited by the number of locations available. So they're going to raid here, 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 and there. Just tons of spots. Because, again, they don't need control or anything. So they're going to raid here versus the Romans because that's in their criteria. Versus factions, Romans first. So to do that, let's look at the procedure. They're going to reveal 1 to 2 hidden Arverni, and for each, add +1 resource or take 1 resource from the faction there. That has no citadel or fort. So we have no citadels or forts in any of those regions. Here, then they're going to steal 2 resources from us by flipping these 2 to available. So they're at 2 now, and we go down by 2. That's actually really sad. Then here, same story. They're going to steal 2 resources from us. And then here, anywhere else where they have troops but no one else? No. So all the rest are going to be non-devastated regions versus no faction. And yeah, okay. In non-devastated regions versus no faction. There aren't any devastated regions on the map, so they're going to do it versus no faction. They're going to get 1 resource here, 2 resources here, for a total of 3, and then 2 more here. Oh gosh, come on. For a total of 5 more, bringing them up to 9 resources. Man, they're the guys to beat right now. That's for sure. Okay, that was their raid. Then they're going to devastate. In each region, we're able to force the removal of a legion or 2 auxilia, or at least as many Romans and ADOE pieces. Yeah. Then they're going to devastate. So, for devastating, it needs to be an Arverni-controlled region within 1 of Vercingetorix. So that's going to be just there. That's the only spot that they have the capability of doing that. But they're not going to do it because they cannot force the removal of a legion. There's no legions there. There's no auxilia there. And there's no Roman or ADOE pieces there. So if none, they're going to entreat. And entreat, again, needs to be within 1 region of Vercingetorix. It's going to cost a resource per region. And they're going to replace a warband or auxilia with one of their own. They're going to replace it with a... if they have control, they're going to replace 1 Gallic or German ally with its Arverni counterpart. And again, this is within 1 region of Vercingetorix, so this is the only spot they can. There are no enemies there to replace. So they can't actually replace anything. If none, no special activity. So they did their raid, and they got all their resources, and just like that, they are top dog for resources, and really for their victory conditions too. They just need 1 more Fallen Legion and like 2 more allies. So we're going to adjust eligibility here, and we have a capability, and we'll see what the Belgic player wants to do, but let's just take a look at what this would do for us. 1 loss per auxilia in 1 region per battle command. So we can basically double our... right, I think I remember looking at that. Double our firepower in 1 region. And then we have Consuetudine up next after that. So the Roman player, which is us, we are up first on this eligibility-wise. And what are we going to do? We don't have that many resources now, which is not great. We might still want to battle, though, to get rid of another ally and some other factions pieces here. And at least then we'd be able to gain control of this region, which is not like the greatest thing ever, but it does allow us supply line. And that's what we're hoping for, is just we want supply line. Alternatively, we could try to march, or we could battle up here even. So yeah, if we're going to battle, we could do it in 2 different regions, possibly even a third, just to wipe out what's left of them there. That would use up all of our resources. Actually, I think battle cost 2... No, it's only 1. No, that's Belgic. Our battle costs, 2 resources per region, so we'd only be able to battle in the 1 region. In that case, I still think it's best to do it, and then next time we can seize, and this gives us resources per subdued tribe and Roman ally in specific regions. And so if we were able to actually eliminate the ally here, we would have, it'd be ripe for the picking for a seize. So I think we will still battle. And yeah, we're just going to do it in the one region down here so we can establish our supply lines. And we get 1, 2, 3.5 losses. But since we can take a full turn, we can do a special ability as well. And besieging we'd be able to remove an ally without having to worry about it. So 1, 2, 3.5 is 3 losses. That would only take out the Arverni warbands and not the ally. So what we want to do is actually besiege beforehand so we can take the ally away, then inflict the losses on the warbands. I think that's what we're going to do, because I'm not too interested in the scouting, and the building costs resources, which we don't have. So that's what we'll do. We will remove this guy here, and then we will fight. We can do 3 losses. The Arverni have a chance to retreat, but they can't retreat anywhere that would harbor them. They don't have any areas with control, and the Aedui aren't going to harbor the fugitives here in this situation. So we are just going to be able to eliminate them. All 3 of them get sent back to available. And now we definitely have control of this region. And sweet. So that was our... I should probably pay for that, huh? So 2 resources for the battle, 0 for the besiege. That was our command and special ability. Now we'll move on to the Aedui player. Or non-player, rather. Probably made that joke before. Are they first on the upcoming card? Yes, they are, but not on the current card. They are first. It is a no Arverni situation, but that's not part of the criteria. So they're going to roll, and on a 1 through 4, they're going to pass. 3. So that's what they'll do. This was a 3, so that's a yes. They will pass, and they'll get a resource for their trouble. So they'll pass down here, get 1 resource. Probably not the wisest thing for them to do, but they're going to get to go anyway, so they just get a free resource at the cost of tempo, basically. Okay, with that then, they passed. I gave them their resource. This will go back up. And that, we're shifting the eligibility again. Now the Aedui get to go again, and the following card is going to be Gallic Shouts. And I think we're close enough to 30 minutes that I'm going to call it here. But hopefully now that we understand the rules for battling and marching and everything, I think we're actually going to be able to speed things along and get through probably 3 or 4 cards per video rather than just the 2 that we've been doing. So I think subsequent rounds are going to be a little smoother. I appreciate your patience and your continued viewership of this, even though the playthrough is a little bit bungled up. It's a little bit botched due to how I've been playing. I think when everything's said and done, I am going to come back to this, like I said, and do a full Ariovistus campaign as well. So hopefully by then I'll have enough of the bots under my belt, enough bot chops that I'll be able to play with a little fewer mistakes so that people learning the game don't make the same mistakes I do and fall into the same traps. So again, thanks for following along. Please do continue to point out mistakes that I do make. And hopefully it won't take too many videos before I'm able to catch it. Have a great rest of the week or weekend or whenever you're watching this, and we'll see you next time. Bye.